If you want to lose fat fast, you should keep watching this video. This is how you're going to do it, but before that, why you should listen to me. This is basically the first 4 months of my fitness transformation. In the first 3 months, I lost around 25 pounds, which might not seem like a lot, but based on my height, which is 5'6", it is a pretty good amount. On top of that, for the following years after that weight loss phase, I managed to not only maintain my weight, but to achieve a way better physique. First, let's define what losing weight fast is. Some people will think that losing weight fast is about just losing tons of pounds each and every week, like 4, 5, 6 pounds per week, and I would totally disagree with it, because this amount of weight loss is not just fast, but it is extremely unhealthy and you should not do it. When I talk about losing weight fast, I talk about losing in the span of 12 weeks, around 10 to 20 pounds. The main category of people who should keep watching this video are those who have a body fat of between 20 to 30 and have some muscle mass, who have been training for more than 3 months already and want to get ready for summer. Or the kind of people who just want to learn how to lose weight fast. Let's talk about the prerequisites. The first one is that you're willing to make sacrifices. Sacrifices will need to be made in order for you to lose weight. We are going to talk about how to lose weight and my approach in a second, and once you will realize everything, you will realize that sacrifices should be made. Weight loss does not occur without sacrifices. On top of that, you are training in the gym. If you are not training in the gym, after losing weight, you will lose a lot of muscle. In a few slides from now, I will talk about the study in which there were 2 groups. One slept less, one slept more. Basically, they were fat and they lost weight, lost around 3 kilograms. They both didn't train and they both lost a lot of muscle. If you are not training in the gym, you cannot really achieve a muscular and lean physique, a jacked body. You will not lose a lot of fat. You will lose a lot of fat, but you will also lose a pretty good amount of muscle along with it, which is not good. And the last thing is that you are tracking calories, not necessarily with an app. When I say track calories, I say you just have a rough idea of them in mind. At the very least, right? You can track calories with an app, and I do it, and it is amazing. But at the very least, I want you to have a rough idea of them in mind, because at the end of the day, it is all about calories in and out. Let's talk about weight loss. Calories in versus out. Out, the calories that are out are your movement calories, the calories that you burn by moving, and the calories that you burn through BMR and digestion, right? So basically, you eat food, it digests, and you burn calories through doing that. That's TEF. You can search out online for exact numbers per macronutrient. I won't go over it this video. And BMR is the calories that you burn through existing. It is in relation to your weight, height, and other things. So you can search for a calculator online and calculate and have a rough idea of it in mind. And on top of that, you add the movement calories that you burn, the calories that you burn through movement, and you get your calories out. Calories in are what you eat. For example, calories out can be me running a 10K run. Calories in is me eating this delicious meal. Calories out can be me sitting down on a chair after eating a big meal full of protein and having the TEF, thermic effect of food, kind of calorie burning effect, and just burning calories for living, BMR. And calories in can be another bowl of this massive, tasty meal. Let's talk about weight loss. Weight loss is basically being on a calorie deficit. It is burning more calories than you eat. It is consuming less calories than you burn. Think about it like a bank account. If you earn $2,100 per month and you use $1,500 per month, you're on a surplus of 500. You are gaining $500 each and every month. If the opposite happens, you lose $500, you are on a deficit of $500. Our goal when losing weight is to be constantly on a deficit. A deficit of 500 calories per day essentially compounds into a deficit of 1 pound over a week and around 12 pounds over 12 weeks. Which is a pretty good amount of weight loss for most people, but if you want to lose weight fast, you can go on an even higher deficit, which will have repercussions that we will talk about in a second. Let's first talk about my approach for fast weight loss. With this approach, this is not a very sustainable approach, that's one thing about it, and it is not the best approach for maintaining muscle mass, but for fast weight loss, for fast fat loss, it is decent if you go on the higher deficits, and it is pretty fucking good if you go on the lower deficits. So it is between a deficit of 500, which is maintainable, which is pretty good, and 1000, which is the extreme case in which I would not suggest you to go on. The higher the deficit, the more weight you will lose. But there is one caveat, the muscle retention, because let's talk about the calorie balance effects on muscle retention. This is a meta-analysis from Murphy et al. 2022. In this meta-analysis, they also performed a meta-regression. When a deficit was in an amount of around 500 calorie deficit, when it was at this amount, changes in lean mass were observed, but on average, people who were training didn't saw a reduction in lean mass and not a gain. But when it surpassed it, people started to lose muscle, which, if you want to look good in summer, is not a very good idea. Why? Because you don't want to lose lean mass. You want to be both lean and muscular, if you are somewhat like me or most people. That's why a 1000 calorie deficit is not very recommended. And we haven't talked about sustainability. They haven't talked about it in this study, and we haven't talked about it until now, but it is also something to really keep in mind. Basically, the longer you want this cut to be, the more sustainable you want it. And in general, the more sustainable you want it in general, right? That's why we want more low-calorie dense foods included in this diet. More protein in a second, we will talk about it, and another thing that we will talk about in a second. But that's why we also don't want to go on a very high deficit that will be extremely restrictive, that will increase hunger, because that's just the result of eating less food and will cause more muscle loss. Let's talk about protein. So amino acids are the building blocks of muscle. Proteins are made out of amino acids. Higher protein diets have been shown to increase muscle retention. Now let's talk about sleep, because protein consumption is important. Making sure that the deficit is not too high is also important, but sleep, this is one thing that a lot of people overlook, and I think to be a massive mistake to overlook. Sleep is recovery time. Let's go over the process of building muscle really quickly, right? Bear with me. There are essentially two steps to building muscle: stimulating muscle growth and the body recovering the micro-injuries that occur during the stimulation of muscle growth during training and building new. Recovery time is the time in which the body actually builds mass, and sleep is when the body recovers the most. It is the absolute peak recovery time. Growth hormones peak during deep sleep, right? That's when we actually rest. Let's talk about this study. All participants in this study followed a weight loss diet. There were, I think, 10 participants for two 14 days periods. In one period, they spent 8.5 hours in bed. In the other, they spent 5.5 hours in bed. They've checked, right? The study tried to check what will be the effect on their lean mass. The lean mass in both groups went down. They, I don't think, trained. They were obese, right? But look at the difference in terms of the lean mass lost. They both lost around 3 kilograms in total. Here, in the 5.5 hour sleep period, they lost 2.4 kilograms of lean mass in relation to the 8.5 hour sleep period, in which they lost 1.5 kilograms. This shows just the sheer effect that sleep has on muscle maintenance, and if you will train the gym unlike those people, you might even see an increase in muscle mass. So make sure that you realize this is not when they were trained. I don't think that they were trained. I haven't seen that they were trained. That's one large reason to why they lost so much lean mass, but that's something to keep in mind. Now let's go over how you will get jacked by losing fat fast using this method. It's basically about reaching the calorie deficit, using the calorie balance, right, being on a deficit, sleeping, taking care of sleep, sleeping more than 7 hours, trying to get as much sleep as you can with the highest sleep quality that you can. How do you increase sleep quality? You basically have a consistent schedule. That's the one way to improve sleep quality the most. I won't go into it in depth. You can search online. This is the one way to increase it the most, assuming that you don't have any other sleep problems which are extreme, right? Let's say you eating just when you fall asleep. If you do it, this is a mistake, and it might hinder your sleep to a very large extent, and having a consistent schedule while making this mistake will not make a massive impact. On top of that, another mistake can be training, performing really hard resistance training, perform really hard training, very hard training, just when you need to fall asleep. Afterwards, your heart rate will be elevated, your body temperature will be elevated, and because of that, your sleep quality will go down. So that's another mistake. Assuming that you don't make these mistakes, having a consistent schedule is very important. And then there is protein intake, getting as much protein as you can, right? There is the diminishing end results curve of protein intake. As we get a higher protein intake, results diminish, but in general, we want to reach the 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein intake per day. This is the sweet spot, especially when you're on a calorie deficit, which causes more muscle loss than, right, than when you maintain or gain weight. On top of that, we want to train in the gym. I haven't covered training because of one simple reason. You should train pretty much the same as you've been until now. You just need to extra lock in recovery because a calorie deficit causes more fatigue just through the natural mechanism of the body have less energy, of the body has less energy than it basically needs. We go on a deficit. We give the body less energy than it needs to maintain its weight. We will train intensely, correctly, as we've been until now, and has worked for us until now. And that's basically when it comes to training. Now let's talk about 3 ways to have a better time losing weight during this weight loss phase and making it more sustainable. Let's first talk about the first one, moving more. I know it is a cliche to say, bro, move more to lose weight, but it is so true. We have talked about it, there are calories in and calories out. Until now, we have talked about restricting calories in. Right? We want a deficit. We want to have a deficit of energy. Why wouldn't we increase the amount of expenditure to achieve it? Moving more is the way to do so, is the way to feel less restricted in your diet, to be able to eat more and still lose the same amount of weight. Cardio is amazing, and the best cardio is the cardio that you can do and burn the most amount of calories and have the best time doing. And NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is basically the calories that you burn through not purposeful movement. For example, me moving my arm right now, I burn calories by doing it. Not a lot, but I burn some calories. NEAT is about just moving more throughout your day. If you want to track NEAT, you can use a watch, which is not the most accurate, but it is fairly accurate, and track your steps. Right, steps is also part of NEAT. Take more steps throughout your day, and you will burn more calories, and by doing so, you will be able to eat more. This is pretty hard to measure. That's why I talk about having a watch or tracking your steps. But in general, if you want to lose weight, this is an amazing tool. On top of that, there are low-calorie dense foods. I know it is a cliche, so bear here with me because the next one is pretty good. It's one that not a lot of people talk about, or some people talk about, but I just want to emphasize. Let's first talk about low-calorie dense foods. Low-calorie dense foods are more dense, and they have less calories. Low-calorie dense foods are foods that are high in terms of volume, but low in terms of calorie density. We want to eat more of them because when we eat more, mental satiety, that's the sheer mental satiety, we take more bites, increases. That's one thing. And physical satiety also increases. Why? Low calorie dense foods are usually higher on fiber and they take more place in the stomach. And because of that, eating them causes more satiety just because they take more place in the stomach, more bites, right? Some of them don't even digest, especially fiber, insoluble fiber. That's one very great kind of foods, category of foods that you can consume during weight loss that will make everything easier. On top of that, there are satiating foods. Now, here's the thing. Every person has a preference for food, and some foods satiate some people, and the same foods don't satiate other people. But there is one category of foods that don't satiate almost everyone. This category of foods are low quality junk food, processed junk food to be more specific. Why? So the whole goal of processing this food, of taking all of these ingredients and putting them together in a certain way with the certain feel that it has, with the certain feel that it has in your mouth, and a certain taste it is designed to have, engineered to have. The whole goal of this process is to make it more palatable, easier to eat, easier to binge on, easier to overeat on. That's why so many people are obese, because they include these foods in their diet. This is one kind of foods that makes weight loss a lot harder. The last way to make weight loss easier is to avoid them. And that's basically it. If you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe. And if you want to get a full course about how to get in shape, you can check out the link in the description. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.